There is abundance in a universe. And we all have the ability to tap into our deepest dreams. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Why do we wait until tomorrow when we could do it today? Step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Bedrock bookkeepers rock it from their home. Bedrock bookkeepers make it on their own. Bedrock bookkeepers live it in the zone. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family.
Hello, entrepreneurs, especially Jumpstart community. Joe DiChiara, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from Sound Beach, Long Island. That's right, folks. I'm actually back on the island, the Long Island. And if you look at a map of the United States, we're on the East Coast. Okay, so if you find New York, we're the little island, and if you're in the Philippines, you know all about islands, right? We're surrounded by water. It is a long island. It is a long island. It would take you a couple of hours to drive from one end of the island to the other, and by the time you're all the way west, you're actually going to hit New York City. Depending on if you're on the north side of Long Island or on the south side. If you're driving on the south side, okay, and you go, if I go all the way west, I'm going to wind up going through Brooklyn, and I know that that's Coach Yanyan's dream place to visit. How are you, Marianne? Thank you for following. Thank you everyone for following, and this is what I'm learning is a journey, and that's why I'm talking about Long Island right now, because I did grow up here, have a lot of memories, a lot of history, still a lot of people that I care about here, but to be honest with you, I can't wait to come back to the Philippines. Yeah, that's right, Marianne. I want to come back to the jungle. I want to eat at the restaurants there. Not that they're bad here. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of places to visit, Marianne. Like, so for me, I've seen just about all the places here. I'm sure there's new places that I could probably visit. But the thing is, you got to drive. You got to drive everywhere here. There is no walking. Well, you could walk if you want to walk like a mile just to get a cup of coffee, which I don't have a problem with. Anyway, so if you're on the south side going west, you're going to hit Brooklyn, and then eventually, if you keep going, well, Brooklyn, you can go north and wind up in another borough. It's called Staten Island. It's a different island. It's part of New York City. Or you can go straight and wind up in Battery Park, downtown New York City, and that's where the Statue of Liberty is. That's where the World Trade Center is. That's where Wall Street is. There's a lot of things down there. At one time in my life, I lived on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. That's where my father grew up, and my grandmother and my aunt. So I had a lot of family that grew up, and that was pretty close. That was within walking distance to Little Italy. Okay, so then Little Italy's still there. And when I lived there, I was in between second grade and fourth grade. So I actually lived in my father's building. There were no elevators. There was no AC. But 95% of my friends were Chinese, because where my father grew up was originally all Italian, and then little by little, other nationalities started moving, and it's probably almost 95% Chinese, and it was one of the best times of my life, let me tell you. Yeah. So I had literally hundreds of friends. I never got to learn any Chinese. I don't know why, but I did have one other Italian kid in my class, Leonard Piccarelli. I'll never forget him. I don't know why, but anyway, so if you're on the north side, so right now I'm in Sound Beach, which is the north side of Long Island, and if I went directly straight, okay, if I headed west, I would hit number one, Queens. So Long Island isn't all Long Island. Part of it's New York City. So New York City has 5 different boroughs. It has Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, New York City, and which one am I leaving out? I always leave one out. Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, New York City, and there's another one. I always forget one. Don't ask me why, but anyway, that's a little history on where I'm from. I would like, if you're watching live, give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the recording, even more important, give me a hashtag recording. I used to do this a long time ago. Well, not that long ago, about 4 years ago. I was doing Facebook Lives once or twice a day, and I found that people start following you, and you can sometimes reach out and whatever, if it's somebody that's interested in one of our courses, the Jumpstart community, because really in the end it always comes down to a community. We're community driven, we're family driven, and it's important to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. And just a little bit more about my history, because you'll see behind me there's a bunch of pictures. I don't have a virtual background today. That picture, that black and white picture, over this is my right shoulder, depending on which way you're standing. That's my grandparents. That's my grandparents. Man, how old is that? They were together 60, over 70 years. Okay. So that's an old picture. And the rest of them are just various family pictures. I'm in my aunt's house right now, and she's got pictures all over the place. Growing up, it brings back a lot of memories. They take pictures and they like get them engraved and stuff. Like I'm looking at one of her clocks, a wall clock, and it's a picture of her getting married and her with her husband today. So it was like before and after. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so let me get on with what we're actually going to talk about today, because from my observations over 40 years in the accounting business, I'm coming up on 64 now, so I've been on this planet for quite a while. I've read a lot, okay, about anything from quantum physics to time travel, and why we're here, the Bible. So I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff like this, and it always seems to come down to the same exact answer, no matter if you're reading the Bible, if you're reading Emerson, Shakespeare. It always seems to come down to, what are you doing in this moment? What are you doing right now? Are you laying in bed because it's too cold? I'm wearing a jacket now. I'm in my aunt's apartment, and it would have been easy for me to just lay in bed, say, "Oh, I'm on vacation." Hi, Janine. Hi, Myrna. Hey, CC. Thank you all for following. And Marcus Aurelius talks about this. If you don't know who Marcus Aurelius was, he was one of at the time of his reign. He was a Roman emperor, and he was literally the most powerful person in the world. And he wrote basically it was like a diary at the time. He was giving himself, he was journaling, and it became a world famous, what would you call it? Sort of like a study in greatness, because this guy was you couldn't be more powerful than him, and yet he talked about dealing with issues like the plague. Over half his children passed away. Okay, and he was what we call a stoic. Okay, I follow this guy Ryan Holiday. I get a daily email, the Daily Stoic. Okay, that's why it's daily. Every day I get an email, and he gives us a little bit of information from the Stoics, and what they professed was a way of life where you don't look into the past, or you remember the past, you just don't live there, and you have no control over the future. And I'm probably paraphrasing. Some people might not agree with how I look at it, but that's my interpretation. Because it's always, listen, let's take hold of the time that we have right now, and really change our thinking. Okay, and this is actually in the science of getting rich also. When you see, it always comes down to the same thing: this present moment right now. Are you in the creative mindset, or are you in the competitive mindset? What I've learned in the science of getting rich is if you're in competition, that may work. It may work for a time, but there's no reason to be in competition with anyone. There's no reason. There's no mutual benefit. When we work from the creative mindset, that's where people start accelerating. They start succeeding together. People together working in a mutually beneficial relationship, and we're going to talk about that. So, what does all this have to do with time management and goal setting? How are they connected? Well, I could say everything's connected. which I truly believe. I believe everything is connected. There's no coincidences. Bad things happen. We don't know why. What's the purpose? And then years later, we find out. Oh, if I didn't go through that temporary pain and suffering, if I didn't go through that at that time, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am right now, basically doing what I planned on doing uh, in 2007. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you exactly how I planned it. Okay. And it all started with, well, I can always say it all started. But then when you peel away the onion skin, you find out, wow, it really started way before this. And it might have started when I was living on the Lower East Side of Manhattan with my family. You know, we lived in a 3-room apartment. There were 6 of us: me, my brother, my 2 little sisters, my mother, and my father. And when I say 3 rooms, I don't mean 3 bedrooms. There was 1 bedroom, a living room with the bathroom in the living room, and a kitchen. That was it. Okay. We were poor. We were poor, and I didn't know it. I didn't know what poor meant. What I knew was I was happy. I mean, like I said before, I had hundreds of friends. I could It was not safe there. Don't get me wrong. It was not a good neighborhood. It never was a good neighborhood. Okay, there were a lot of bad people around there. They had what they called the projects, which was government housing, so people could live there for free, and you didn't get, you would get gangs living there and trying to take over. So it was a bad place to live. But I had no idea. I was a kid, and I wasn't really exposed to anything. So in my mind, it was heaven. It was like heaven for a kid. I got to play all different kinds of sports. We had seasons. We had top season. We had miniature football season. So I was a happy camper. And then I was even happier because we got to move to Long Island. Okay, my mother knew that there was a bad element where we were, and growing up there wasn't in the cards for us. So we moved to uh, Islip, New York, and it was even better. Okay, because now I wasn't confined to like right in front of my apartment building because we couldn't go anywhere. On Long Island, we had miles and miles of dead end streets where all these hundreds of kids live. So again, I was in ecstasy at the time. Again, I was oblivious to any kinds of problems. And then 2 years later, what I found out was that my father had serious gambling issues. Okay, we were broke, we were poor. Okay, which was a mystery to me because, as far as I knew, we always got whatever we needed. We always had Christmas, we had big family dinners. But now, all of a sudden, I find out that we have to move. We have to leave what is like fantasy land for a child because we had no money. My mindset changed. Now, all of my happiness was based on having money. If we just had money, we could have stayed where we were. And I lived with that for a long time. It's one of the reasons why I became a CPA. Okay, because of that one change. Nothing really changed. See, nothing really changed except the fact that now I knew we had to leave and go to somewhere that wasn't as fun, and I had to make all new friends because it had to do with money. So that was why I said, you know what I learned also when I was 10 was my friend's father had a business and he was rich. He had money. I mean, so what I equated was, oh, business people have money. Okay, so it was etched in my mind. Uh, and how do you make money? Well, they taught me in school. You become an accountant, you count the money, you calculate your hourly rates, and eventually you start making money. Okay, that's what I thought. That's not how it really worked. Like I said, I was in the competitive mindset for a long time until I read the Science of Getting Rich, and it changed my mindset. And guess what? It was almost like a domino effect. It wasn't one big change. It wasn't one big change. So, John, I see your question here, and this is why I'm going into this. This is why I'm actually going into uh, this lesson. Yeah, it is about time management and goal setting. Okay, so John, I'm going to give you some of the steps along the way that I've been utilizing to get me from where I was, which was a place that I wasn't happy. Okay. Did I have a business? Yeah, I had a good business. Okay. Was I making money? Yeah, I always made as much money as I needed. Okay. I never did a lot of investments. I always just invested in myself and trying to grow my business. Okay. But like I said, uh, if that's the mindset, you lose sight. You lose sight of how things really work. And that first step, John, was I read The Science of Getting Rich. Okay, by Wallace Wattles. If you ever heard of a movie called The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, her daughter gave her that book to read and said, maybe this will change things. And if you don't know about The Secret, uh, just look it up. Okay. The secret isn't really a secret. The secret is that if you live and act and think in a certain way, you're going to get a certain kind of result. Okay. So, how do you do that? You got to know what drives you. What drives you? You know, people think, and again, uh, what you may or may not think may or may not be accurate. Okay, and that's why I have a coach. That's why I talk to Larry Broughton. I have mentors, and I asked Larry, I know what my why is. I have a few whys. I know why I'm doing this. I know what I want to accomplish, but I don't always feel like doing it. I don't always feel like doing it. Okay. It's Monday. Okay. Monday morning. Oh my God. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I started to talk about Marcus Aurelius, and he talks about, man, it would be just so nice to stay under the covers and not have to get up. But that's not how things are accomplished. So, what Larry's always got a good quote that makes it simple. He said, habits eat motivation for breakfast. Think about that. Habits. So you got to know what your why is, okay? You always this is what I believe. You got to start with why. And for me, it's always been like this. I just never realized it. For me, it's to empower the little guy, to give the people that want to start their own business the tools and resources that they need to do it without going bankrupt. Okay, and there's a lot of ways to do that. So, at the core of everything I do, I know that that's what my job is, and it's not so crucial. It's not so crucial as far as the items that I personally do to get there. Okay, so like I said, goal setting and time management are related, but you got to be focused. You got to be focused. So these are some of the areas that I cover, John. Okay, you got to know your why. Not only know it, you have to document it. And I'm going to show you how I do that. Started in 2007 with another book called The Law of Success. The Law of Success, written by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill also wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. Okay, and what Napoleon Hill described in his book uh, was what I saw as really a condensed business plan. So I had done my last business plan was like over probably about 250 pages. It was all about remote bookkeeping, how it was going to become the H&R Block of bookkeeping, and that that business plan, I should go back to it because probably a lot of it is coming true, just not the way that I thought. But the definite chief aim. So also, let me give you a little background on Napoleon Hill. So he originally wrote a book on success called The Law of Success. It was a correspondence book. Now, if you look up Napoleon Hill, apparently he was like a massive fraud, not like Bernie Madoff fraud, but apparently the guy just lied about a lot of stuff that he said he did. He never actually met with Andrew Carnegie. But I looked at that and I say, so what? So what? Because what he puts in the book, it wasn't so much about who he was. The fact is that what he wrote was logical and it works. It works and it's in line with the science of getting rich, Wallace Wattles. And it's in line with what a lot of other people talk about. Napoleon Hill actually talked about quantum physics, the power of positive thinking. Okay, he said that had something to do with people that are successful. So he listed all of these different qualities sexual magnetism, charisma, uh, focus, all of these different principles. And he came up with a formula to come up with what he called a definite chief aim. This was one of his main principles of success. And I like to call it the vacation, the vacation concept. People spend more time planning their vacations than they do their lives. So the definite chief aim, what it is, it's a simple three paragraph statement, and it says, this is what I'm going to do. The second paragraph is, this is how I'm going to do it, and the third is what the result is going to be. And mine went somewhere, and I still have it. It's 2007 I wrote it. I said, I'm going to teach millions of people these concepts, these laws of success. And the way that I'm going to do it, and I literally said people all over the world. Now, just remember, I had a little accounting practice in the middle of Long Island at the time. The way I was going to do it was I was going to write about it. I was going to speak about it. I was going to talk about it to everyone, any chance that I can get. And as a result, I was going to be able to travel where I wanted, when I wanted, with whoever I wanted. And, so here it is, over 16 years later, and I'm pretty much doing exactly that. Okay, so you want to get your why, John. You want to produce, and it doesn't have to be a definite chief aim. It could be any kind of condensed business plan, but you got to have, what you need to have in there are values. You need to have a mission, and you need to have a vision statement. And what I'm going to do in the side over here, I'm going to give you I'm going to show you what my coach gave me, which is a template basically. And he calls it your dynamic business growth plan. Okay, so we'll get to that after this. Document your goals. Okay, let me document your goals. Okay, share screen. I'm going to show you how I've taken a lot of the stuff that I've learned from these publications, from other tools and tricks that I've learned, and I came up with my own guidebook. Okay, and I'm willing. So this is a pretty substantial system, and I'll show you what, because it is a system. Okay, so I have a 90-day guidebook, and I made this sort of, well, not sort of, I actually made it into a workbook. So here we have my 13 principles that I remind myself of, hopefully on a daily basis. So here's the instructions, but I want to get you to the meat of it. Okay, so over here I have Bruce Lee's definite chief aim. So this is just the content. That's my principles in writing. Okay. But now here's some of the tools that I put together. Okay. So I have, first off, there's different versions of this. So over here, I have my goals, my daily main thing. So I set this up so it could be printed. You don't want to type this stuff in. So you see, I have all for 13 weeks. That's a quarter. Then I got a thing for daily activities, petty cash. Okay. This is just one version. Uh, so what I do with this stuff is I mix and match it. So you see, when I do this, I print this out. I have my definite chief aim in here. So this is how I manage my everything, everything from tasks to goals, big events, and you could see I have all different. You could say modules for this. I have a calendar. Uh, I have a budget. So this is just one of the tools that I've put together uh, to help me manage my time and goals. The routine. So you saw it, one of those tools is to just write down my routine. So this only works if you use it in your routine, if that makes sense. Okay, so okay, so John, I'm not sure if I answered your question now. I'm looking at this again. So you say, what steps can we take to improve the situation? So what I've been showing you is how to create a system, a routine uh, that you're going to be in a position to improve all your situations. See, what do they say? If you want to monitor something, you got to be able to measure it. You got to be able to measure it. And the only way to measure something is if you're documenting it. Okay, we're in the accounting business. We're supposed to be able to document stuff. And also what we incorporate, I don't know if I put it in here, in line with what our goals are, we keep KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay, and we look at those. Okay, we have, how big is our email list? How many are in the Philippines? How many are in America? What's our target? What did we do last year for this month? Because accounting is very time sensitive. So I could tell you in February, March, and April, that's when we do the bulk of our tax returns. So our revenue is going to go up. Okay. Then May, June, and July, it's flat. It's not like there's extra money coming in. All right. Discipline. Okay. Habits. There's habits and then there's discipline. Okay. I believe, and you could look this up, but I believe that discipline is what you need to develop habits, if that makes sense. So I've heard, all different numbers, but I think if you do something every day for like 28 days straight, there's a good chance you're going to do it on day 29. Okay. Uh, So that's why, I started an exercise routine about a month and a half ago, and I made it to the gym, I think 14 days in a row. And then the 15th day, what I did was I made a conscious decision to do my exercises later instead of getting up. Like, I stayed under the covers, and then we went out to this resort area, and it was really sunny. And by the time I got home, I was passed out. So I lacked the discipline. But I'm still a work in progress. Okay, so I told you. So now you have your why, you have your routine, you have your systems. Now you got to actually start blocking out. Now you got to get into details. What am I actually spending my time on? Am I putting my time into the most productive areas of my business? Am I working in my business or on my business? Okay. Now, the difference is, if you're working in your business, that means you're doing everything. Like I was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was doing all the marketing, the slideshows. I was editing my videos, everything. I was even doing the website. Okay. That's why if you see an improvement on the website, on the videos, on the slideshow, it's not me. It's because I stopped doing them. Okay, I got to the point, luckily, where I could start working on the business. And the way you do that, John and Khadija and Janine and for everyone, you got to have a budget. You got to start with the personal budget. Okay, and I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. Also, just in case I forget, that that system that I showed you, if anybody wants it, uh, all I ask is you book a chat with me, timewithjoe.com, and I'll give you the whole system for free, because then I can actually walk you through it and show you how I utilize it. Okay. So you got to be able to, and we have what we call the Larry Broughton exercise, and I'm going to share that with you as well. But you got to be able to. So what the Larry Broughton exercise does for us is it's a simple list, and you got to fill in 3 columns. What exactly are you doing? Okay, so one of the things I do is I do these recordings, I do videos. Okay, then the 3 columns is, number 1, I'm doing it. Number 2, I'm good at it. And number 3, I love it. I love it. So now we have, a bunch of team members. It's not just me. It's not just let's say 15 people we have do this Larry Broughton exercise. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised when you start listing what you're doing, and then you're going to look at it and you're going to say, this is something I can delegate. This is something I can make into a system and let somebody else do it. Or this is something that really doesn't have to be done. It was important a month ago, but then, somebody else did something, and it's not important anymore. Or you could say, you know what, this is, publishing our books. We have like three more books that are ready to be published. It's not the end of the world, so we don't have to say, hey, by tomorrow, let's get these published. Okay, so that's what the Larry Broughton exercise helps us with. Before I get into that, I'm going to actually show you the Larry exercise. Okay, I just realized, so I don't know if I was actually sharing my slides or the screen, but this should be the screen. Yes, Larry Bratton exercise. So you could see it's really simple, and the way that you do this is you just have it right on your desk. As you do something, you say, "Oh, I'm checking emails now." Now I added a couple of other columns. One, I wanted to know how much time we were spending, and what type is this: admin, sales, or operations. So that's what it should be: uh, S O ASO, admin, sales, or operations. But that what becomes more important are the tasks. And what I look for is there anything somebody's doing that doesn't have the other two boxes checked. Also, if they're doing a lot of things that they're good at but they don't love it, we might look to uh, take that away. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it again, folks. A little bit, almost on an hour. I always try to do these quickly. I mean, not quickly, but cover a lot of things in a short period of time. Uh, I hope that I gave you some value. And like I was about to say before, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be very helpful. It helps us get ranked higher. But also, more importantly, when we upload a video like this, you're going to get a message. You're going to get a message when we schedule them, and also when we actually go live. Thank you all for the hearts. Thank you for the comments, and I will be seeing you again shortly. Oh, and one other thing, I did. I'm pretty sure I posted this. Join our Jumpstart community. We have our grand launch coming up May 18th and 19th. And if you look uh, at the lineup, okay, look at this lineup. We got Stephen C. We got Mary, Coach Yan Yan, Larry Bratton coming all the way from the United States, former Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And let me tell you, folks, that's a big deal. Only one entrepreneur in the country gets that award, and Larry won it one year. One of my favorite accountants, Sir Jonathan, and Cap Hernandez, and there's no coincidences. He's wearing my Yankee cap. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. And what you don't see here is my amazing team. You're going to get to meet Luz and Janine and Honeybell, our grand host, and Dan the kid, the video man, and a whole lot more. You're going to be meeting with your peers. It's going to be an amazing event. So that's my story. God bless. I'm checking out and looking forward to seeing you all at the Jumpstart event. Thank you.